Alright, hey there. So, I'm doing the rear bags on my 2007 Lincoln Town Car. She's got the original Firestones on her, and they blew out after putting more than like 10 pounds in the trunk of the car. So, I destroyed one of my solenoids because I watched a video on how to do this, and that video had a lot of mistakes, and also a lot of other people just didn't really explain this shit properly. So, first of all, put your jack stands on the frame of the car. Don't put them on the suspension. You're going to need the suspension as far down as it can possibly be. Now, I'm going to show you how this bag assembly works. Alright, so imagine your axle is right here. Here's your bag. You have your clip up here that just goes through here. That clip holds the bag up, and then here is where your solenoid goes in. Here's your solenoid. This is where your airline is going to come in. This is your wiring connector. And this is the side that actually goes into the airbag. On the bottom of the bag, we can see a plastic piece that is touching the axle housing. Inside of this plastic piece is a large metal retaining clip of sorts. Stick a pry bar between the axle housing and this plastic piece. Pry the piece away from the axle. It should pop off with some minor force. You might need to poke a hole in the bag that still has air in it. Go ahead and use a 90-degree pick to get in behind this ring. To remove that. Go ahead and rotate the solenoid 45 degrees. And then she pulls back, quarter turn again, and she comes all the way out. Alright, so right now I'm on the driver's side, and I just pried off the old solenoid. This guy right here. This is where the airline goes in. Right, just like that. So you're going to want to pull this out just a little bit, where you have enough room to get a clip remover tool in between the black part of the solenoid and that orange, I guess you could call it a washers or whatever it is. But after you do that, like on the driver's side, I was able to get my pry bar up above the exhaust, or not pry bar, sorry, the clip remover tool up above this exhaust pipe, and I was able to wedge it in there, and I just pulled with all my might the original solenoid off of it. And then for this piece that's stuck on the airline, all you need is a pick, or preferably one of these little pocket screwdrivers. They work best. And then don't try prying it away. Just get in between these little the little gaps, and just twist the screwdriver a little bit, and it'll come right off. And they'll fall right off just like that. And then, so to install the new solenoid, just push it straight onto the line. You'll hear it click, and it'll be firm. Alright, I want to share some installation tips for y'all. It really helps if you have a second person holding this. But first of all, when you go to install this, Go ahead and put the solenoid on the air line. It just slides right on, no problem. Way easier than taking it off. Put the wiring connection on. It'll only go on one way. As well as when you're putting this on, like when you're putting the solenoid into the bag, leave the front clip out, so that way you can scoot it over just a little bit, enough to where you can see the tits and stuff, so you know when it's completely seated and such. Then put the top clip in very last. And of course, after your solenoid's in here and turned and seated all the way, throw your clip in there. What we did was, while it was still up on jack stands, we raised the rear diff up until the air suspension would kick on. Then we pressurized it just enough to seat the clips on the bottom of the airbag, and then switched it back off. In the trunk, of course, switched that system back to the off position. And then we did a jack on the driver and passenger side at the same time. Jacked it up, took the jack stands out, dropped it down to the ground, flicked that airbag, well, the air suspension switch back to the on position. Of course, wanted it running just in case. And as you can see, she's aired up good on both sides. I don't hear any leaks. It did take a few seconds for it to start to air up. That's just because when we dropped it all down to the ground, those bags only had a few PSI in them. Barely any air, just enough for it to seat those clips. So it took about 30 seconds before you could see it started moving up very easily. Alright, well, I'll give you one last shot over, and then I think that's where we're going to end this video. Thank you all for watching. We'll make sure to give her a good bath before we get on our road trip, heading halfway across the US in her.